Welcome guys, and thanks for joining in another episode on how to build a peer-to-peer lending platform using Django. In the previous lessons, we have been able to customize our boilerplate, and we have been able to roll out the beautiful front-end template. For now, I can say some of the pages are working in its proportion. Others need fixing, and let's check the sign up page. Okay, the URL is wrong. It's supposed to be login. So the login page is displaying, but not in the sense it should be. I wouldn't want us to focus more on the front end, but later on we will get back to that, because if we are going to focus on front end and fixing the layout and other pages, we might waste a bit of time. But as you already have understood the concept of changing the templates, this will be very easy for you in your own spare time to map out the corresponding pages, like the forget password page, the sign in page, and then the sign up page, which later on we will do. But for the sake of this tutorial, we will not be focusing more on the front end. So the next thing we would like to do now, when we go to our investor table, okay, let me roll out our example site. Now we realize that we need to take the details of the country of a borrower, which we have skipped, because we are required to take the current address of the borrower and then the permanent address, and likewise we will take the country of residence. Let's go back to our user model. Now this is the user model we have over here. Now the current address is a character field, likewise the permanent address. But let's see if we have the country of residence, which is also a character field. And for this reason, I would prefer the country to be the list of countries, a foreign key of type country. So let's create a new app. First, let me fire up my virtual environment, cd Vigo. I'll make the screen wider. Clear screen. So Python 3 manage.py start app. We can call this locations, and we have locations here. I would like to commit this, so git add dot git commit -m, the message location app started. Okay, so this has been committed. Now we have our locations app. I'll go to apps.py, the boss name. I'll call this Geolocations, and then we go to base.py and look for the installed apps. One thing you have to notice, the installed apps has been grouped into three. These are Django default apps, third-party apps, and then local apps. Local apps is what are the apps that are actually by the project. So this helps in organization of the installed apps. So we go to our local apps, and in there we can now put our newly created app, locations. You can leave it as this, just locations, but I like to go this way so I can get the verbose name and other structures put in place. Apps dot, we have locations config. So now we have introduced our new locations app. Let's go ahead and create a model. I've already created a model, but I would like to introduce to you this. If you're using Visual Studio Code, there's this app called this extension called Django Samples. It comes highly, so I've already installed it, but Django Samples is really handy. It gives you some boilerplates and helps you to write code faster. So let's say if you want to create the models for the country, let's check our, so country. With country, we need the name, the ISO 2, the ISO 3, and then the currency. These are the fields we need in the country table. So if you have the Django samples installed, and these are some of the handy shortcuts, so hyphen, and you see models. So you can use this to create a model, this to create a model form, this to create a many-to-many field, and other related many-to-many fields. So if I do -m model, I already have a boilerplate created for me. So we can just have country. The field name will be the name, the character field maximum. I prefer to keep it 150 and what have you. So here, so you get it already. So this was just an introduction of the Django Samples extension. So in here, I've already created the country models. So I will just import and then we talk about it. So I will just copy all this. I'm going to copy all these. Copied. And we bring them here. In the earlier videos, I talked about not wanting to write codes from scratch because it will be time consuming. So we have the country model. Now the name, which is already in our requirements. So name, the ISO 2, the ISO 3, and then the currency. So, and I have also added additional fields which we may require later. The phone code, the currency, ISO 3, the ISO 2, and I think we will not need the capital of a country. So I will take this out. The native, we may need it. Europe, these are the regions. If it's in Europe, North America, South America, I don't think we will need it in this project. So I'll get rid of this. Wikidata ID and regions, we will not need it. And of course, created dates, modified date emoji. When I want to create data models, usually I look for the source of the data. So countries. So when I was looking for data to populate the country table, I chanced on this repository that has a list of all the countries in the world. So I had to structure my model to match the fields in their database, to match the schema with the data they had provided. So they had the name, ISO 2, and others. These fields may be required in a specific project, And in the banking project, we needed some of these fields like the subregions, even the time zones, the translation, the latitude and the longitude. These information came handy. So if you want to have all of these, then you will have to add all these fields in your country model. But for the sake of this project, we don't need that. So if you find your data source or your data sample, you have to tune your model to match it. And if some fields are not required, then you can you can just drop these fields and the corresponding tables will be dropped. So that was just by the way, and how we came about with these other fields. So we will keep the name, phone code, the currency, this. Okay, so I think the ISA 3, we may not need it. Yes, so we will get rid of this too. So we don't need the capital of the country. And we get rid of these two. And emoji. Okay, so we don't need that. Flag, we don't need this. What is wrong here? Okay, we're missing. Something is wrong. Okay. Now this is a flag to indicate whether sign up is allowed from this country, to also indicate if this country is banned. If we can send money here, but this was used in a different project, so I'll get rid of that. So that is that for the countries. And the state, the state, we have the name, the country code, ISO 2, and we will get rid of these two. Yes. And the foreign key country, yes. And then we have the cities, so we will call this city. So the name of the city, the country code, the state code. Let's get rid of the flag, latitude, FIPS code. So we got rid of this. We will get rid of these for the sake of simplicity. Yes. Now we have created the models for country, the state, and then the city. So this is the structure now. So let's go back here and do git add. I like to document as I progress. So git commit models for locations app created. Okay. Now we go to the administrator, admin.py, to register our newly created models. So class country admin, admin.model admin, and maybe list display. We have the name, ISO 2, yeah, created date, modified date, and then for admin links, display links. Let's do same for state, city. So the state field, what do we have? We have name, country code, ISO 2, so name, ISO 2, country code, created date, and modified date. And then with city, we have name, country code, state code created. Okay. So with city, we have name, country code, state code. What else? Country code, state code, created, modified, and for now, let's stick to that. And for display links, to make it all clickable. So let's run migration, Python 3, manage.py, make migrations, and migrations has been done. So Python 3, manage, migrate. Now git add, git commit message database migrations. Now let's go to our admin and check it out, what we have there. So I think I may have forgotten our administrator. Maybe example.com. I hope we are correct. No. Let me try Vigo land. Okay, so we are it. Let me save this. Now we have in our where is the location app? No, it's not here. We did not register it yet. Yeah, my bad. So now let's register this. Admin.register country. Let's import that. From the models imports country. So we do the same for state. What is it called? It's not state. Yeah, it's state. Okay, so import state. And this is city. Okay, let's go back, refresh, and it should be here. Now we have the countries. We can add the name of the country, Poland, phone code 48, currency PLN, ISO 2 PL, and the native Polski. So registration, accept registration, yes. Let's add another country. Cuba is okay. Let's go to Iran. Iran is on a sanction list, so I don't know the phone code of Iran, neither do I know the currency offhand, but Iran is IR, and the native language I currently don't know. So let's make this band, save. Okay, so country name Nigeria plus 234, currency NGN, ISO 2 I think it's NG, and it's Nigeria. Let's accept registration, and then a last country, United States +1, USD, ISO 2 is US, and it's United States, accept registration. So now we have this. Let's test our state and regions. State name, I will, Lower Silesia. The country code is PL. ISO 2 is, let's say, LW, which is not. Then in Poland, save and add another one. State name, Washington, US, WA. Now country code is US, ISO 2, WA, and in the US. Likewise, the city, we can just put one fictitious city, Smith City, country code PL, state code PL, just Poland. The state is Lower Silesia. Later on, we will filter all of these to only show the states in Poland. Now it's showing all the states in the database. So we're going to make this dynamic so that when you select Poland, the corresponding states in Poland only shows. So yeah, that is just by the way. And so our country geolocations app is fully functional. Let's go back to our workspace. Now let me commit this, clear screen, git add, git commit, locations app, admin registered. Okay, that is done. Now we return to our users app, so we go to users, models.py. Now let's fix a couple of things here. Now the country of residence is no longer going to be a character field, but a foreign key of country. And yes, so country of residence, so we're going to do that, and on delete, let's set to null. We don't want our users to be deleted because the country has been deleted. So set, let me do that. Oh, what am I doing? So models dot set null, not a function. Okay, so let's import country. So country is now here. Yes, so we get rid of the maximum field, max length, and I think that is a new factor we are going to be implementing here. Is there any other field? Now, yes. So now with the current address and then the permanent address, we need to think about how we are going to handle these. And it depends on you, what you wish to implement. In some instances, for instance, a user, a developer may choose to take addresses in the form of, asking for address line 1, the street, state, and the zip code, blah, 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 and so on. Now, I always want to keep my addresses in a separate table so that you can always, manage and verify these addresses instead of it's scattered across like as different fields. So what I propose here, we'll create a separate class called the address. So what we will do here is, now with the address, the current address, let's make this a foreign key of user address and on delete. Let's protect this so that a user address should not, delete this. Okay, so on delete models dot protect. And for now, yes, everything is in order. Let's also do the same for the permanent address field. Yeah, so that is that. And then on delete also protect. Now something is missing. The address field is missing. So let's create, what did I do? Okay, close this. Now let's create our address class. And if you have, again, if you have the Django Samples extension I introduced, you can easily do this. -model. And we have this now. So we create user address and then we have the boss name. Now there is a little bit of indentation error with the Django extension, the Django samples. So you can always fix this by just pushing it one line and everything should be okay. Verbose name, we call this user address, and the plural, verbose name plural, user addresses. Let's get rid of this. Yeah. Now let's create our address fields. Let's check what we have. If we have an address table, yes. So an address table requires address line 1, address line 2, address and so forth. So let's quickly create it. So address line 1, line 2, street, state, zip code, and then country. So address line 1, line 1 can be 50. Address line 2 of the user. I'll copy this. Okay. So I'll just copy that. And paste. And this is state. City, postcode, or zip code. So zip, postcode, and then we have country. That should be it. Yeah, so verbose name, address line 1, address line 2, state origin, and the city name also 50, the city of the address of the user, postcode 20 I think is reasonable, the zip or postal code of the address of the user, and then last is the country. Let me fix that. The boss name, zip code, and the country is going to be a foreign key of country, and on delete models dot also protect, and I think that is that. And address line 2, we have to make it blank or true or null, because not every address has provisions for a second line. So state, city, okay, the boss name, city. Now for every address should have an owner, so user is equal to models.foreign key, that is going to be the user, the user is going to be, so okay, so the boss name, user profile, help text, the user for whom address belongs to, very descriptive. On delete, protect also. Okay, so that is that. I think everything is in order, and we have a syntax error, address line and this line. Okay, so we need that, and there's no. Okay, so we got the import here wrong. Okay, it's fixed. Locations and user is not defined. Oh, okay, so this should be enough. So user and multiple, what is it saying? Multiple value for boss name. What is that? What am I doing wrong? Oh, foreign key. The country is foreign key. Okay, so I like to keep my server running. It helps me detect errors. much faster. Let me make the screen wider again. And what do we have here? Okay, so reverse query name for user current address clashes with. Okay, so let's go to our and fix this. This has to do with a related name. Current address, yes. It clashes with permanent address. And what else? Yes, so let's fix that. Related name. I don't want to reverse query, so plus. And the next is related name, and then for the permanent address. And this is fixed. I think so. And let's override the ID for our address. I don't like to use an integer as the ID, so I always prefer to use a UUID field. So let's go over. Basically, the changes we have done, it's not much. We just created another table to cater for user addresses. Yes, so we have refactored the user model to make provisions for that. It's okay. So now let's go back. Git add git commit user model refactored. Okay, now we have made these changes. Let's run migration. Let's make migration. Python 3 manage make migrations. Python 3 manage migrate. Git add git commit database migrations. Now that we have created a new model, let's register our new model in admin. So add admin, register user address. Let's bring that in. Class admin dot model admin list display. Now there is also another handy extension I use. Let's go to our models. Now there may be times where you wish, instead of typing everything, I could quickly highlight, select all these to this point, and right click and go to copy model fields. And I hope I get the name of this extension right. Copy. I have, okay, so let me see if I have copy fields. Okay, so it is called copy Django model fields. It comes very handy there are moments you may want to. So now I have copied all the model fields. So copy model fields. We go to our administrator, admin.py, and we do that. Copy, paste model fields. And we have all the fields that we wish to copy. So I'll get rid of the ID and the address line 1. So likewise, let's create links. Let's go back to admin.py. Home. And we have here user addresses. So now we can create a new user. Select the users, admin, and create new addresses for this country in Poland. Let's save that. And what do we have? User address has no attribute field. Let's go check it out. Yes, this is the string method. So let's save it as the user's name. So user.name or user.firstname. Okay. Let's go back and refresh. And now we have an address for the user in our database. Now, in this way, we can now link our newly created address as whether to the corresponding user. Now, there's something here I have missed out. Let's go back to our user addresses model. Now, let's create another field called type, which is of choices. So models dot character field, which is going to be choices as address type, max length. For now, let's make it 5. We'll fix that. Boss name, the type of address. No, this should be help text. That. Type or address type. Now let's create our choices here. Choices. So an address may be current address. So current address or permanent. And yes, we already know that. So now we increase our length to 9 and the type of address blank. All right, let's set a default instead. So the default will be current. Let's create migrations. Clear screen. Account 3, manage. First, I would like to make this commit git add. It's kind of a habit I have. Address field type address type field added. Then Python 3 manage make migrations. Python 3 manage migrate. Then git add, git commit, database migrations. Now we go back to our address field, and we can see here that now there is a field for the type of address, so we can be certain that this is the user's current address and then the user's permanent address also. I think our project is taking shape. The concept is so we can add the type of address here. Let's add the type of, wait, I want to check something. Okay. So everything is in order here. So I think that is that, and so you can download this extension if you're using Visual Studio Code. Now the final stage of this video is that now that we have our list of countries, let's go ahead and then tweak our sign up form to take accounts, sign up. Let me log out first. Log out, sign up. Now our sign up only takes these details. So now let's take the address and see how this goes. We go back to our user app and we go to the forms.py. And in here, we uncomment this, but if this is not in your project, then you can write it. So we're creating a new model choice field, which is of country. So the query set is to, first of all, so the query set, let's bring in our country model. Let's import from locations.models import country. So yes, and that is that. Let's go to our form and refresh. And now we have the country of residence, and in here we have the Nigeria, Poland, and United States. Because we have filtered the countries to only show the list of countries that are allowed. So if we want to check the countries that are banned, it's very unrealistic to say you only accept registrations from countries that are banned, but I want us to have an overview and understanding. So now we are supposed to see only Iran, because we're currently accepting registrations from countries that are banned. Yes. Okay, so now let's go to this and say we only show only countries that has accept sign up as true and order by their names. The empty label should be country of residence. Now, when you try to submit this form, so Jane, okay, so Jane Smith, example, Jane Smith, and then the country of residence. Oh, let me refresh this again. Okay, so Jane Smith, example, Jane Smith, country Nigeria, and then our password. We will hit an arrow here. Sign up. Oh, wait a minute. Did I uncomment that? The sign up? No, I have to re-register. Even though the registration was successful, as we can see, that wasn't the intent. I did not. So we go back. So after indicating this, now in the sign up page, the sign up method, we now have to register the country with the user. So we have user.country. I think it's not country, but rather country of residence. Let's see. Okay, so it's user country of residence. So user.country of residence will be the country. So let's fix this. Country of residence. This should be it. Okay. Let's go back. Re-register for an account. Jane2 at example. And we confirm our email. And Jane has been registered. Let's check our administrator. Let me fire up a different Firefox. Admin add now user no registered user. We have Jane. Which of the Janes? I think it should be this. Where is country? Yeah, so we see here the country has successfully been registered to Jane as from Nigeria. So we go back to our list of users and let's tweak the admin to display more information for the user. So country, let's take the join date. Modified date. Says country is not callable. Yeah, we will deal with this later because it's of a foreign key. Oh, no, join date rather. we don't have that. I think these fields are not available yet, but let's stick to that. Now country. So now we wish to display the countries of our users also in the list display, but it's not callable because it's of type foreign key. No, it's not. That actually isn't it. You should be able to work is country of residence. Yeah, not country. I get confused. So now let's try to run this, and it shows Nigeria. And we make this. Let's fix that. Links. Okay. All right. Now, one last thing. We go back to our user model, which is also very important. And create another field and call this account type. And the verbose name will be account type. And it's going to be choices account type. Max length, help text, the account type of the user. Let's create this account type choice. So an account may be, a user may be a borrower, or an investor. Yes. And this is 8. Now let's fix the forms to take this account type let's bring in our choices. And so user is supposed to choose the account type, so account type is here, and then we have to go back to our sign up and allow users to, so let's populate, so the account type will be account type. This is done. Let's make our commit, git add, git commit, user model and sign up refactored. Now let's make migrations. Clear the screen. Make migrations. You are trying to add a non-nullable account type. Yes. Okay, so let's quit to go back to models and make the account type nullable. We already have some data in our database, so, or we can set a default instead to as a borrower, and let's make this nullable too. Okay, just for safety. Okay, let's run, make migrations. Python 3, manage, migrate, git add, git commit, database migrations. Okay, let's go for a spin. Let's log out, sign up. So let's try borrower at example, and these are the options. The borrower, so borrower, country Nigeria, admin, sign up. Let's verify our email, and borrower is there. Let's go to our admin.py and make that so we can display the account type. So account type, so now we have, because we've set the default as a borrower, now we have every other user populated, but this is the newly created account we actually registered. So the account type is the borrower, and I think I have a typo here, so it is account type. Let's commit the changes, git add and git commit. I'll just call this edit. Now guys, as you can see, our project is taking shape in bits. We are able to collect additional data in this video. We've created the locations app, which has the country, the state, and the city locations, and we've been able to factor in these details to modify the user model. So now we have the country available, and now we can also create a user address for our users. So that is that for this video, but before we wrap up, let's quickly push our changes. So git push, and we can confirm our changes has been made in our GitHub repository. So that is that for this video, and in the next video we will explore other options in refactoring our codes to serve our purpose. Thank you.